Welcome to Ken's Corner Podcast, Season 4.
Welcome back to Ken's Corner Leafs fan panel. I'm going to do a roll call right off the hop. JT up there, Thunder Bay. George out in Calgary. Phil in parts unknown, and Joe, he's practically my neighbor here in Stouffville. How is everyone doing?
Good.
Okay,
Great.
You know what? Before we jump into, I want to talk to Joe for 1 second. He sent me a message after that Florida win. This is the team; they'll never go anywhere. This team sucks. How do you feel now, Joe? Did I temper you? And after,
hang on, that's not what I said.
Don't put words in his mouth.
Make a comment on this.
I think we needed a few more messages about hats yesterday.
Yeah.
Holy geez.
Yeah, I guess you do have a Ken's Corner hat coming to you. Thanks for participating.
No worries. Thank you. Anyway, I said absolute embarrassing effort. I said this is the team that you guys think is the best in Canada. I said Florida's missing their 3 top players. And I thought it was they played terrible. Would they get 18 shots on net? Did they even get that? Why make excuses? We got to stop settling for mediocrity. Stanley Cup, the best team from coast to coast, start to finish. Anything else is failure. That's my opinion.
Well, look at what Matthew Knives came out and said.
Sorry, George. What did you say?
I said, look what Matthew Knives came out and said and did.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah. How did you like the bounce back from our top line in that Tampa Bay game?
That was great. That was awesome.
We need more like that. More nights where we are like we're so afraid to call this team out. There's a lot of money tied up in some guys making some big coin that walk around like they're gods in this city. Like, let's call them out when they're not having a good game.
Exactly.
Why give them a free pass?
Well, the professional sports is you got a pile of teams that are all worth $100 million. These are all NHL players, every single one of them, whether the bottom of the bucket or the top of the bucket. The only difference is consistency across the board. Consistency does not mean 100% every game, you're never going to have a bad game. Consistency is over the average who's going to be the most consistent. So we are going to have bad games. And you can't turn around and say, I'm going to shell shock the whole team because we had a bad game. Did they play like crap? Yeah, they probably could have played a little bit better. Maybe Florida a little bit better. We were a little bit behind the ball on it. It was a game. Shit happens. Move along. That's the way I look at it. At the end of the season, new season starts, and we'll see what we have.
Well, the truth of the matter is, when we were facing those last 3 games, 2 against Florida, 1 against Tampa Bay, wasn't winning 2 of them out of 3 okay? Isn't that what we said? And we actually did do that. So, Joe, you asked me way back in the start of the season, you said to me, Ken, why do we have to settle for being second best? Why can't we be number 1 in the NHL? And you kind of goaded me into saying, yeah, we're going to be number 1 in the NHL this season. What's your thoughts on our run right now and our chances? I think we're 89% chance of holding on to number 1 and 79% chance, guys, of facing Ottawa in the Battle of Ontario. Joe, I'm going to let you talk on this one more time before
we're in the hot seat today.
Move away from
they're number 1 in their division. They're not number 1 overall. So
that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So and we haven't beat Ottawa all year. So we haven't beat Winnipeg. I don't think we beat Vegas. I'm just concerned that there's teams that, I'd like to see us beat once in a while. Yeah, we have bad games here and there. We got a lot of games where the Leafs just mailed it in this year against teams they should have beat. Columbus, named
I think we did beat Winnipeg earlier in the season.
San Jose. So, they're just, we're doing, listen, we're doing well.
Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. If we had picked up those wins, we'd be probably
absolutely
close to 60.
I love our defense. I love our goaltending. We got to stay healthy. It's the secondary scoring, and will the superstars come through in the playoffs when time and space is taken away? That's what's going to win us the game. If those guys can figure that out, then we'll be fine.
Yeah.
But
Phil,
we'll see.
What's your thoughts on us moving well towards our 50th win. We're at 49 right now. Did you think that this is what was going to happen? Another 100-point season for the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Well, I definitely hoped that it was going to happen. It's nice to see that for the first time, I believe, in Maple Leaf history, we've got two 20-game winning goaltenders,
Mhm.
which is fantastic. Um, I think that like we were previously talking about with the Florida game, we came out, we were crap. Matthew and I called out the team. We were too soft, and I think the last two games have really shown what we're capable of. That game last night against Montreal, hard nosed, not a lot of room out there. We didn't give up much at all, and we were able to generate against a really stingy freaking team over there. And to come out with that the big points there is unreal.
5D.
And George, your thoughts on last night's game? Montreal, they had 15 shots complete in that game. Was that not a defensive gem from a 5 defenseman team? In fact, Mitch Marner took a turn back there with Brandon Carlo. Carlo said after the game he thought he felt out of place because there was Nylander, Tavares, and Matthews up front, Marner beside him, and then Brandon Carlo. He thought he was out of place.
Well, let's just say being under Berube is a whole different change to our team. And yep, and we're doing what we can to help the goalie and everything like that. Sometimes we get a bad bounce off of one of our guys, but being under Berube and what he's done to our team, Chief, he's done great.
I agree. JT, I left it for you since you're hanging the Mitch Marner flag behind you. Talk to me about Mitch Marner's play last night. I know there was a couple of times I was like, Marner, stay on your feet the last couple of games, and you know what I mean. But he did come through, and he's got 98 points. He needs 2 more to get to that 100-point level that he hasn't yet reached in his career. Your thoughts on Mitch Marner and his overtime goal to beat those? I had to express this, those Montreal Canadiens. And you know what? It was nice to have a few Canadian fans in the stands because I agree it made the Toronto fans that much louder.
Yeah. You've seen a lot of red on the TV, and it was actually my son-in-law, who's a Habs fan, God rest the kid's soul, but he was saying, oh my God, you can't believe that they're even at home right now. Look at all the red in the stands. And I said, yeah, it is kind of nice to see that, because usually you see that the other way around everywhere you go. But as for Mitch last night, I think was making plays, he was playing a game, and he was actually shooting a puck. He actually fired a lot of pucks that he normally doesn't fire last night. He was taking shots from the slot. He was actually shooting pucks last night, which was nice to see from him. But yeah, the game winner at the end there is just the icing on the cake for his game, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. It was a good game all around. I think we dominated them on every front. That goalie, wow. They do have a couple of good goalies in their system, and he's
Definitely.
one of them. And he made saves he had no business making. And
yeah,
but
he's only given up 1 goal in his last 2 starts, so hats off to him. But
yeah.
Talking about goalies, Gord. I'm sorry. Why am I calling you Gord, Joe? Mr. Joe Moyer, the former goalie himself, right there. Let's talk about Anthony Stolarz. Obviously, where everyone's locked in on Anthony Stolarz heading to the playoffs. He is now 7-0 in his last 7 starts with 2 shutouts and a 1.52 goals against average. Your thoughts on Anthony Stolarz yesterday in that game against Montreal?
Well, nice to only face 2 shots in the first period. That was pretty cool. I wasn't razzing any of my Hab fans by text, but yeah, I was. It was nice to see him have a nice one where he wasn't shell shocked. We talked about it a while ago. He will be the number 1 come playoffs. I've said it from day one. He deserves to be. He's been the most consistent. Joseph Woll's a good goalie, but Joseph Woll tends to have a few more games where he's got a clunker or 2. So I do think that they're lining up Stolarz for number 1. But a really good point. The Montreal goalies, that Dobis. I texted my buddy. I said, "Who do you got in there? Like Jacques Dryden in net for that guy's a really good goalie, and they're set in goal. Montreal's a really good young, hungry team. Like as much as I hate them,
Actually,
Going places.
Joe, I don't mean to cut you off, but I seen a really funny tweet from Brian Hayes from Overdrive. His tweet was Ivan Demonov sitting up in the press box thinking that Dubish has just won 4 straight Vezinas. Kind of, but I want to ask you one more question. As a goalie, isn't it harder sometimes when you're only getting a few shots to not let in that one goal? Like, do you fall asleep a bit out there? Like, he was kind of doing the Ken Dryden leading on his stick most of the game. And then he was tested late in the game and into the overtime on those 5 shots that could have went the wrong way for us, but it didn't. Your thoughts on that aspect of his game?
Well, you'll ask any goalie, would you rather face 8 shots and win 2-0, or would you rather face 45 shots and win 5-2 and you stand on your head? You'll take the 45 shots any day. So that's just how it is. You want to get in the game. You want lots of shots. That was actually a story in the NHL. They polled goalies, and goalies said, "I don't want to have a easy game with 8 shots. I want to, stand on my head and make, tons of saves, lots of shots. I want to be the reason we won." Right? So that's just a goalie mentality.
Yeah, most certainly. Okay, guys, we're going to pick our teams here soon, but first we're going to line up these games. We'll start with you, Phil, with your predictions for our last 3 games of this season. And if we move past Carolina today, guys, and I don't even know if this is possible because of our cap structure. I mean, we got Dakota Mermis coming into play this game against Carolina today. But is it even possible for us to rest anyone? I don't think we can. I mean, the only way we can do it is give them less minutes on the bench. Am I right? And tell me your predictions for these next couple of games, Phil.
I've seen a bunch of tweets and comments on different platforms and stuff like that saying that after the game today, let Marner get his 100 points, sit the big boys so they can go into the playoffs, which I don't always agree with. Obviously, you're always afraid of injuries. Nylander left the bench last night, and they said during the game he was only gone for a couple of minutes. Whatever, could have been equipment, but my heart stopped. I was like, "Get that guy back to the freaking bench." We've done it in years past. Has it always worked out for us? I don't think so. I would like to see them continuing to play through.
But who
It is a
plays
lot of
for them if
games.
we're up against the cap? I don't think it's possible.
I guess Robertson plays 20 minutes. McMahon, Holmberg. Good God, I don't know.
Sit him on the end of the bench and play him 5 minutes in the game.
Dress Wall at center. Like
Yeah.
you got forwards playing D. Put a freaking goalie in center or something. I don't know.
I guess that's a possibility. That would be funny to see now, wouldn't it? Okay, let's get your prediction for today's game against the Carolina Hurricanes. In Carolina, by the way.
My prediction, I hope we win. I hate doing these score things.
There you go.
I don't know. I hope we win. Like I never get them right, so you put me on the spot here and tell me to pick, and I'm always freaking wrong. I look like an idiot.
Well, you get the first pick, so you can be the first idiot.
All right, perfect. I'll go with 3-1 Leafs.
And what do you feel? Does Stolarz get any more starts? Well, I don't think he'll get the start today, but do you think he'll get one of those last 2 starts before the playoffs?
Who?
Stolarz.
You talking to me?
I still am.
Oh, I don't know. There's 3 other ugly dudes there. I didn't know which one of us you're talking to. I don't know, man. Obviously, he's not going to play today. The guy's won 7 of his, he's 7-0 in his last 7 starts with 2 shutouts. I guess it depends on how Wold does. If Wold goes in there and absolutely craps the bed and we get blown out of the water today, I would probably suspect that Stolarz is going to get another start.
Yeah, maybe that last one against Detroit right before the playoffs. George, your prediction for today's game?
Yeah. I'm going to say, Wool and net. I'm going to say we're going to do a 4-2 win.
Thank you. Sorry. JT, your prediction?
I think the Wool actually needs to have that competition. I think that it's been a 50-50 split, and he knows that. I think he also knows now he has fallen behind on that 50-50 split, and he's going to come out all guns a-blazing to prove something. He's also going to follow it with a shutout, and we're going to win 4-0.
Nice.
That would be really nice to see. And Joe, I'm going to give you the last prediction before.
Oh, 17-0 Leafs.
Pardon me?
17-0 Leafs.
Okay.
It's
Thank you.
Marker breaks it.
You guys said it well. It all hinges on Joseph Wall. He needs a bounce back. He needs to kick butt and prove. So I think it's up to him if he has a good game. I'll say 4-3 Leafs in overtime.
Yeah, that's a good prediction because you know what? I'm really tired of picking the Leafs to get an open net goal because we just don't seem to hit that open net ever. But okay, guys, thanks for doing that. Now we're gonna go over our categories real quick for the trophies. And we'll just start with Phil and we'll go around. I'm going to give you the categories. You can go off the board if you like. For Coach of the Year, what we have is Spencer Carberry for the Washington Capitals, Craig Berube in the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Martin St. Louis of the Montreal Canadiens. And of course, D, you can go off the board, guys. Phil, we're going to start with you.
My Jack Adams, I've got Spencer Carberry, 107-point season after barely making the playoffs last year, 16 points better. But I also want to point out that what Travis Green has been able to get out of the Ottawa Senators has been unbelievable this year. The special mention for me is the Columbus Blue Jackets, Dean Evison. What this guy has had to navigate this year is unbelievable.
Yeah.
The fact that he's had to have all those ceremonies, he's had that tough locker room, he's had those emotional nights and everything else, and he's gotten them so close to the playoffs is absolutely unbelievable. But for me, it's Washington's, what was his name? Spencer Carberry.
Former assistant coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, actually. JT, what's your picks?
Believe it or not, Berube, and I understand I'm a homer, but he's taken a team and completely flipped a mentality, a locker room, everything. It's a new team, same players, but totally different team, and he's made them work. He's taken a bunch of running gun guys and taught them how to play a defensive-minded short game like you're going to get in the playoffs. Totally different hockey, totally different systems, totally different everything. And he's turned these guys around 180 degrees and put them on a path.
Well,
to me, that's a coach.
For the record, I'm a homer too, JT, and I'm going to say Berube too, just to jump on board with what you're saying. George, your pick for Coach of the Year.
I don't call it a homer. Our team is sticking up for each other. I'm going with Craig Berube. He totally turned our team around, and we're sticking up for each other. And we're getting a lot more fights. And not that we need the fights, but
you do.
It's there when we need it.
Definitely. Joe, and you're the last man up here. What's your Coach of the Year, please? Who is your Coach of the Year?
Phil's a wise man. Spencer Carberry all the way. You don't make the playoffs, then you dominate the league. And all that while navigating Ovechkin trying to get the record-breaking goal and keeping that team's head above the cloud, out of the clouds, and focused on what their mission is. And I think Spencer Carberry. All other good choices though. Berube is a good candidate. Martin St. Louis. I mean, they wanted to fire him at Christmas time, right? So it also depends on the playoffs. If Montreal makes it, but I think that it's going to be Carberry.
Yeah, and that's going to be one heck of a series, Montreal and Washington. Hard to call, but I'm still leaning towards Washington just because of the season they've had. Thanks, guys. Our next category is the Calder Memorial Trophy for Rookie of the Year. And we're the players that we have here are Lane Hudson from the Montreal Canadiens. Great season from the defense. I think he broke the record for rookie, or right up there with Chris Chelios by now. B is Macklin Celebrini. What he's doing out in San Jose with practically no one around him is quite amazing as well. C is Dustin Wolf. Where would the Calgary Flames be without the play of Dustin Wolf in net? And D is go off the board, guys. And George, we're going to start with you.
I'm going to call a hometown guy. I'm going to say Dustin Wolf. After losing their goalie and Dustin Wolf coming up and standing on his head, I'm going to say Dustin Wolf. They might not make it into the playoffs, but this kid's he's gonna be something.
Well, you're certainly right because Dustin Wolf was told in the minors that he wasn't big enough, he wasn't good enough, and he was the best goalie in the American League, and kind of got told the same thing coming into the NHL season. Well, he can do it in the American League, but can he transfer it right here to Calgary? And he has. Phil, you're up next.
I have Lane Hudson, defender for the Montreal Canadiens. 64 points. You have to go back 3 decades to find a rookie defender who's had better numbers. In my opinion, he's playing one of the hardest positions in hockey against the other team's best offensive players night after night and still making an impact offensively. Like I said, he's got 64 points. He needs 7 points, obviously, which he's not going to get to pass Brian Leach as the all-time rookie points, whatever, leader for rookie defensemen. He's only 3 behind, I think it's Chelios or a suitor. I don't remember what the suitor's name was, whatever, but
Ryan
he impressed me
Suter.
last night. Yeah, is it Glenn Suter? But he impressed me last night. He made some unbelievable plays, and he's been doing it all year at one of the hardest positions, in my opinion.
Thank you. Joe, what's your pick? Who is your pick?
I'm with Phil again, Lane Hudson. When you think about that, man, for a team that wasn't supposed to make the playoffs and the pressure of Montreal, and you're close to setting records of Brian Leach, who's like one of the all-time, great point scorers. That's something, and he's got such a young career ahead of him. So I think it's Lane Hudson.
Thank you. And JT.
I like Lane. I liked his game last night. He does do an unreal job defending when you consider the position he plays to keep people off. And we didn't get goals last night against him, and he's up against our guys. And he's able to pinch. He gets in on the play and he's back into his zone so fast. He reads plays. He is phenomenal, but he has an awesome supporting cast around him. He's got a lot of everything around him. Macklin Celebrini is a one-man show for his team. He's kind of carrying that on his shoulders. And if you look at what a Calder is the most valuable rookie to mean something for their team. It's not just it's what they do for their team. It's like an MVP for their team. And to me, Macklin is more detrimental. His abilities are more of a playmaker on his team or for his team, and makes more difference for his team, in my opinion. And Wolf, I'd put Wolf above what's the nuts there, Hudson, because Wolf is literally he's put Calder on his shoulders.
Yeah.
So
and that's why I'm actually going to go with George and say Dustin Wolf. I guess I'm a bit of a Calgary. I lived there for a bit, so I don't know. But I really think Dustin Wolf has really fit in very well for Calgary. Thank you, JT. So your pick is Macklin Celebrini.
Yeah, Macklin.
Okay. Our next up will be, what are we going to do? All right. The Vezina Trophy winner for the best goalie of the year. So that's the goaltender who is to be the best at his position by the end of each season. So Connor Hellebuck, Jordan Binnington, what a bounce back after that Team Canada and what he's done to help St. Louis get into that playoffs. And Logan Thompson from the Washington Capitals, for all the reasons you talked about, Carberry, guys. Or you can go off the board again. Phil, we're going to start with you.
Connor Hellebuck, 924 save percentage, 8 shutouts, 46 wins, 2.02 goals against average. He leads all NHL goalie categories. The guy has been lights out from pretty much the start of the season to the end. He had a 9-game winning streak to start the season off. And yes, we did beat Winnipeg this year, Joe, and it was to make sure that they didn't get the 10-game winning streak that the Leafs had with Potvin in 92-93. But the guy's unreal year after year.
Okay.
It's unbelievable what this guy does.
Sorry. Since we're running out of time, we're going to get you to name your heart. Just give us a name real quick.
Draisaitl.
Oh, they went off the board. Thank you. Okay, George, give us 2 names. Who's your Vezina and who's your Hart? Your goalie and MVP.
I got to say Hellebuck, and Phil said it all. So I'm going Hellebuck, and what was the last one?
Hart for MVP in the league.
Hart, I'm going to go Nathan McKinnon.
That's not a bad choice. JT, we're going to move on with you. Your Vezina and your Hart.
Vezina, I'm going to go with Hellebuck, but I do like Logan Thompson. I like the story of him. I was there when he was signing things at the draft last year. I went and grabbed it right there.
Nice.
While he was signing that for me at the table at the draft, he had already been traded. He was sitting there signing stuff as a Knight, and he had already been traded. Just a class act. So what he's able to do, the way they dumped him out and moved him right at the end like that, he was totally shell-shocked by it. And do what he's doing right now, my hats off. But Hellebuck for me for the Vezina.
And in your Hart?
There's so many players up there, but I don't know. Like Draisaitl, I like him.
Yeah, Draisaitl. Oh, and by the way, congratulations to your fellow Thunder Bay goalie who played really well for Team Canada, George, killing it for the Ontario Reign. I'm watching you on Facebook, keeping up with him.
Yeah, he got a short notice call up, came in, and he went in there, and he got his first professional game in the AHL as a 4-0 shutout.
And what is his first name?
Carter George.
George, I was right. All right, I want to make sure that I actually said his name right. Joe, your picks, your Vezina, your Hart.
Hellebuck, no question, done deal.
Yeah.
And Hart, Leon Draisaitl.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, well, I'm going to go with Nathan McKinnon. I think he's been one with all those movements around in that Colorado lineup. He's stayed consistent and is at the top of the league in points. I don't know if he'll play another game this season, but 126 points is pretty damn good, guys. And Hellebuck with his 10 shutouts. How could I go anywhere else other than with him? You guys are right there. Thank you, guys. Goalies go today. We can get off this and set our TVs so half-hour game time. This will be up by Tuesday. Goalies go, and I'm going with Joe in that 4-3 overtime win. Thank you, guys. George out in Calgary. Have a great day. Phil in Durham, parts unknown. Joe right next to me in Stouffville. And JT up there in Thunder Bay. Thank you so much, guys. Next week, we're going to pick our MVPs of our team and set up that first. We'll set up every round because we'll have it on the table by next Sunday, and we'll make our predictions on who we think will move on into the second rounds. Thank you guys for joining me today. I'm Ken Judge here on Ken's Corner Leaf Fan Panel. Thanks, guys. Goalies go.
Go Leafs go.
Goalies go.